Hello everybody, good evening, welcome back to Slow Saturday, and Bitcoin's price is still 84,000 approximately. We actually had a bit of a dip, 83,000, never mind, I thought that was bigger than what it looked like. Still 83,000, nothing too major happened here. As we can see from this chart, practically Friday and today's Saturday, as predicted, hardly was able to move a single percent in its price. So, yep, still flat at the moment. Currently testing this uptrend that we have ever since our lowest point of 76,000 due to fear of, I guess it was tariffs, March 10. We have since then had this low March 18 of 81,000, and we haven't dropped to that point ever since, right? Currently still, yeah, I wouldn't call this necessarily any trend. We're still fighting to not become a downtrend. Obviously, if we do close a candle below this uptrend that I have drawn over here, we would effectively be in a downtrend, but I think it's still too early to tell. I would like to just give this a pass because of the fact that it's a Saturday, early Sunday, right? What else we got? Downtrend indicators as well. This downtrend still predominantly showing its strength over here, as well as the 200 simple moving average and the super trend in the 1 hour chart, still pointing toward the bottom. In the 4 hour chart though, never mind. Yeah, similar deal. I do feel like we might still break down towards the bottom for a couple more days, possibly. We do need some good fundamentals, as I always mention. Can't make too much of a movement without good fundamentals. So until then, we are just to wait. But I do think, like, still where we are, Bitcoin does not deserve to be down here. It's been too much of a downward pressure, but there's just so much good news that has been coming out. Small news, right? Nothing too major. But it's all good news nonetheless, right? So, I don't know. I feel like it's being punished a little too hard. Which means that a correction is imminent. And don't be discouraged as well by this low volatility, no movement type day, because the longer the price does nothing, the bigger the next move is going to be. And hopefully Trump does tweet something bullish tomorrow. It's exactly what we need, like some fundamentals, some news to come out. We're just waiting, I guess. We have been getting some stuff, but half the time it's been nothing burgers or nothing that we really expect, like nothing that we really want, I guess. We're expecting something major, but we're getting minor stuff, right? At least that's what the case is for Bitcoin. I like this super trend hitting exactly that fib resistance line, although would you call it? Yeah, it is a resistance at 84,000. That's the resistance that we'd have to break out of in order to flip back up to an uptrend so we can retest this downtrend. From there, we have another downtrend to retest as well, 89,000. New pivot points are going to be generated by the day after tomorrow, so by Monday. Monday, we'll see some new support resistance zones, but you can clearly see one. I think this 86,000 will still be an important one. And in terms of supports, I really don't see anything big here. Maybe this still, 81, 82,000. 82 seems more reasonable, 82,000. So watch out for that point as well. Next, I do want to look at Solana. It's at currently 128 with 63. It had a pump overnight, which if you watched last night's stream, I was shorting Solana right over here. And no, of course, it just had to go up and then come back down to here again. So that means I hit a stop loss. Yes, I do have an open position right now. Although I told myself I probably shouldn't be doing that. But yeah, we have to write this down nonetheless, so I will go ahead and do that. It's annoying. I have how many losses in a row? Whatever this is, -1. That's 8. 8 losses. Cool. Not cool. Tired of losing. I did make the adjustment that I told you guys I was going to make with how the stop loss is going to be calculated, right? Closed on 22nd, yes. Opened at 128.423. Closed at 129.647. Minus that amount. $4 in fees. Stop loss triggered. And yeah, as I mentioned, I do have an open position right now. It is in Ethereum. And I'll show you guys the little change that I made. Ethereum is surprisingly hardly in the green. Never mind. Nothing major is happening here either. Stop. So here's my entry. In the 5-minute chart, I'll show what happened. That's not true. I did not buy there. I bought over here. It should have been. I don't know why it's showing the buy area in a completely different spot. Let me just, yeah, here it is. This is where it purchased. That makes more sense. So the way I set my stop loss is you measure 10 candles, 10 bars, right? The lowest point of that, if you're going long, right? You want your stop loss to be below this minimum. How far below? Using the average true range and average directional index to your advantage. How do you do it? You only add one of the average true range, which is $2.70. But you're only going to take, what is this, from here? 45% of that 2.70. And that's the amount that you're going to use. 45% of 2.70 should be whatever. I don't know what the exact calculation is. I can do the math here for you. Let's actually going to draw this out. No, it's already drawn out. Why do I have to do that? Lowest point is 1974.02, right? In Ethereum. This trade entered at 1982.25, and we're looking to reach 1990.82. Our stop loss was set at 1972.86. Why? Because at this candle, average true range is 2.70. So 2.7. And we're only going to take 45%, 45.73% of that amount. 0.4573. I'm not sure if the numbers are exact. Could be slightly different, but this is the amount that you'd have to subtract from the lowest point, which we see is 1974.02. So 1974.02 minus, I copied by accident, paste, the 45% of the average true range. That makes it 1972.78. This one says 86. That's close enough. It's whatever. Might be some differences due to the spread as well. And I'm using 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, 0.48% here. And from here up should also be 0.48% or close. 43%. Why? I blame the slippage. It's fine. A couple cents more, a couple cents less. It's probably not even going to hit a take profit anyway. Because we get close every time and we just completely reverse to the other side for literally no reason. Let's just keep the streak going. I'm fine with it. What is my current balance anyway? 4,493. Have I lost 500 by now? I have. Yeah, it's painful. $500 drawdown. Yeah, I could recover that though in 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. Yeah, 3 or 4 trades that will be recovered. But it's got to be one risk-reward ratio of 1 to 3 though. Because of this low volatility, I am not using 1 to 3. I'm just using a 1-to-1 because half of these would have been winning trades if I used 1-to-1. It just didn't have enough strength, enough power to continue moving forward to hit that 1 to 3 ratio, right? It couldn't reach 3 times that distance. It did reach 1 time that distance, or maybe sometimes 2, but no, usually no. And this one was an accident. I entered this trade by accident, but I should have just let it run because it would have hit a take profit. But I was scared, and I ended up paying in just commission. Whatever. I now know that, yeah, if I'm gonna enter a trade, just let it run. Even if you don't think it's actually gonna work out, just let it do its thing. Let it work out. And it should be fine. And in low volatility days like this, I'll just use a risk reward ratio of 1 to 1. It's practically a coin flip, coin toss. I always think like this makes sense for me to make profit from. Why? Because Ethereum is technically in an uptrend, right? Although it is indeed supremely oversold. But, you know, small volatility, I think, like, you know, something like this could happen before we see another, I don't know, sine wave movement down or something. I don't know. But usually what tends to happen anyway is that it just does this whenever I enter a trade. I'm not going to jinx it. We'll just let it do its thing. If I lose, I lose. It's whatever. It's part of the strategy. I'm not going to change it. The only thing I did adjust was the stop loss, which realistically speaking, what it used to be was the previous 3 candles. So it would have been 1, 2, 3, this candle, the lowest point, and then 2 times the average true range, which it's practically the exact same spot where, not the exact same spot, but very close to where the current stop loss would have been, right? Let me do the math on this one. So this is the low point 1975. 1975.86 minus, I'll just do 2 times the average true range of where the candlestick was purchased, which is 2.7. 2.7 minus 2.7. You're looking at 1970.46, which is actually further, right? You're actually asking for more of a distance. And sometimes that extra distance is unnecessary. I'd rather the movements be a little bit smaller, but you ensure you hit a take profit sooner, right? Because if your stop loss is too far, like at 1970, your take profit, if you're using 1 to 3, God forbid, it's going to be much further away. So that's not really that ideal, in my opinion. This might actually hit a take profit. Now that I said that, it's going to completely reverse. Trust me. Anyway, moving on from Ethereum. It's on a good path for now. I still have high hopes for Ethereum. There is a lot of stuff in the baking, you know, and process in the oven. I don't know how to say it for Ethereum. It's preparing for something big because it's been here for too long. It's the second largest cryptocurrency. I know people are in the talks of XRP possibly flipping Ethereum, meaning like its market cap position of XRP, which is number 4 at the moment, could pass Tether, could pass Ethereum, and be number 2. Ethereum would drop to number 3 or number 4. I don't rule out that possibility. People were saying that with Solana at one point. Solana did reach number 3 and was pretty close to Ethereum. Well, not close. It's most coins are far, right? They have to double their market cap to reach what Ethereum has. And, you know, despite Ethereum being 60% from its all-time high, it still has a very large market cap, right? It also has been the worst performing asset of most of these. Well, Dogecoin, I wouldn't even consider people investing in this. Why would you invest in that? It's a meme coin. But Ethereum is not a meme coin. It's acting like a stable coin, sure, but yeah, you get the point. I shouldn't be insulting Ethereum too much here. My money is in its hands at the current moment. So yeah. Speaking of XRP, it is down 1.11%. I think we are officially crossing down to a downtrend, right? We broke the uptrend. And we are underneath the 200 symbol moving average. We're also underneath that super trend. Underneath also this resistance. So I don't think we're able to break through that. We weren't able to maintain the uptrend. It would be a different story if XRP at this point from yesterday was able to maintain this momentum upwards, right? Bouncing up from the resistance, right? And then breaking through that super trend would flip it bullish. And the super trend level would be where the 200 moving average level is. And that would be a confirmed uptrend for XRP. But unfortunately today, no volatility, no news. XRP flips to the downtrend in this case. Yeah, rest in peace. We'll stay in this downtrend for a moment. I'll draw a line over here just to see where we could be heading. No, that's too steep. I'd use this line. No, not really. Yeah, no clear indication as to where we could see any breakout yet. Might stay like low for a while. Maybe generate some new pivot points next week. Then we would break out around this level is where I would assume. Based off of this tiny little projection that I made up a couple seconds ago. That makes sense, right? You stay low for a moment in a downtrend, or maybe no trend if you do manage to go in between these two values, right? If this is the simple moving average and then you go in the middle of where the super trend and the simple moving average is, until you eventually, you know, with enough time, possibly some fundamentals. What day is this? 24th of March? That's a Monday. You could hopefully break out and, you know, you'd be above the simple moving average already, and you'd flip your super trend bullish again like that. Hopefully that is the case. I'm not sure. Small projection, though. We'll see what happens with XRP. It was unfortunate, though, like this drop over here. I did have a trade entered at that moment, and it was a fake news post by Watcher Guru, which I covered yesterday. Apparently, XRP was going to partner up with Swift for payments, international payments. That would have been huge. A great use of the blockchain. But turns out, no, that was false. Somebody hacked Watcher Guru to tweet something so specific, right? Like, come on. I think it's, I'm part of that conspiracy where, the conspiracy group where it's probably real news, but they just weren't allowed to announce it yet. And then they were like, oh, we got hacked, ha ha ha. And then we over-explain how we got hacked. So, yeah, guys, don't get hacked. We enable two-factor authentication this time. Notice that every coin is like 0%. Anyway. Yeah, we'll see what happens with XRP. Hopefully that bit of news is good enough. Although, I mean, we did get a decent reaction from that news, but it was quickly blown off. Like, they were very quick with retaking their account to announce that, no, we got hacked, by the way, so it's not real news. Sorry for the inconvenience. I don't know. It's all suspicious. Cool. SUI is $2.26. Still flat over here. Practically in a downtrend. Good support, though. I like it at 221.5. Yeah, we do need some time. I feel like most coins will need some time before they break whatever downtrend they have been carrying. Do we have another one for SUI? We don't. Well, not that I have drawn, at least. What does it look like in the grand scheme? Let me zoom out a little harder. Nope, this is a very prevailing downtrend. Oh, we do have a longer one, though. This one. But that seems like it's going to take a longer time. Probably by April or May that we'd have to break out of. We'd be well over... well, at $3 by that time, which wouldn't surprise me. For now, I wouldn't be able to draw an uptrend. These prices are a little bit too recent, so yeah, I'd suggest we probably have to wait. If we can break out of this, that would be great. But for now, we just gotta wait. Cool. Next coin is Cardano. It's at the 70 cents. It's still here. It is in this little zone, in a downtrend as well, technically. Let's see if we... oh, Ethereum's about to hit a take profit. It's about to. It's a 1990. That's where I had my take profit at. We're about to see a take profit live. I'm a penny from... that's a scam. That's a scam. Okay, there we go. Nice little pump over here. Congratulations, we broke the downtrend streak. And we only made $36 from it. That's crazy. Where did all the money go? All that was done by the trading bot, by the way. I had no partaking in that. Ethereum of all coins actually made me profit. That's insane. And I've been talking the most smack about Ethereum. Oh, that's not the price. That was the profit. So entered at 1982.25. Watch this would have worked in a 1 to 3 risk reward. That would be pretty hilarious. Also, it wasn't a perfect 1 to 1 risk reward ratio. I don't know why. Whatever, we'll have to see. $7 in commission. Oh my gosh. Is that the highest amount ever? Or what? It is indeed. I'm just noticing that these commissions are getting larger and larger. I know it's nothing against me, but that's just how it works here because of the fact that if the distance between what you need for a take profit is smaller, like Ethereum only had to go from 1982 to 1991, then the amount of commission will be larger. Why? Because you're using more margin to cover for that smaller distance, right? To make more money based off of a smaller distance in price movement for Ethereum's case. And if you're expecting a large movement, which is why these trades have lasted longer, your commission will be less. I also used a lot less margin in here, so ignore those ones. But starting from here, right? $4, $2, $1 for Cardano. It was probably a larger trade. I was expecting a larger price movement. Although not really. There's only 1 cent in it. Lost. Whatever. I probably had a positive funding rate. Yeah, I did. That's why. Positive funding rate offset some of that loss. It's fine. Okay, well, there you go. Finally broke that. 464 and climbing. Almost there. Now, what my trading bot does at this case here, so it tells me what my profit was, 36.13. Is that the case? Yes, it is. It tells me where it exited. It tells me my new balance, 4520.33, which is correct, 4520.33. And now it's still going to be waiting to enter a new trade. It doesn't enter a new trade immediately, mind you, because we are in an uptrend, and so is the 5-minute chart with the 3 moving averages all pointing upwards. But it will not take that as an entry signal. First, what it will do is it'll wait for a swing downward, and then on the next swing upward, that's when it will enter a new trade. But for now, it waits for a momentum shift, right? Because it has to, like, reload, I guess, in a sense, before continuing. It reached a high of 1994. I wonder what this pump is for. Interesting. It's not even that major. Like, if you zoom out, you'll notice, like, this is absolutely nothing. It's such an insignificant movement. And that's why I was charged a lot of commission. It makes more sense, because small movement, but I'm requiring that amount for a take profit, the $40. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. That's why exchanges always make money. They're always taking commissions from you. If the trader makes profit or loses money, they're always going to, you know, get some money from you. Alright, I didn't analyze Litecoin yet, so let's have a look at that. Bit of nothingness as well. It just went back into this no man's land zone. It should technically be in a downtrend though, but it's using this zone pretty strongly, and I do see an uptrend coming up soon. Possible trend reversal for Litecoin as well. Look at this. From here, we have a longer term. That is absolutely valid. And then a short-term uptrend that is currently forming, and it seems like it can maintain, I hope, at least to the naked eye. Yeah, it looks like this can be maintained. We'll see what the next pivot points are. We're still 4-hour trend in a downtrend. And from here, we see this downtrend could not work. I'm assuming we're using like a super long-term downtrend then. From like over here. Say from over here. Yeah, it's going to take a while then. This fib retracement does make some sense to use as a resistance. Bounces off of that, drops to the downside. Unfortunate, but you know, we do have this uptrend that we can reinforce ourselves with if we do continue dropping. If we bounce off of this toward the downside. If not, we'll continue upward and we'll likely hit this point. 105 by March 27. Could be likely actually. The only thing we should be paying attention for is April 2nd. Reciprocal Tariff Day. Liberation Day is what Trump calls it. Yeah, so we'll see. Currently, yeah, I wouldn't consider Litecoin in any necessary trend. Makes sense as well due to the day that we're in, but I feel like we'll stay kind of flat until... Well, I don't know necessarily until when. Depends on when we get some fundamentals to cause some movement. That's all for this. If I could find another entry, would not be in Bitcoin. Would not be in Solana. There's no trend for those. Ethereum is in an uptrend, and I just took profit from that, so I'm going to keep the bot running on that. You see that the configuration is set. Trend for 1 hour is up. Trend for 5 minutes is up. But it still did not enter because it's waiting for a trend reversal first before re-entering. Doesn't want to enter after the movement has already been exhausted, right? Imagine if this could have been a 1 to 3 take profit. Yeah, no. XRP, if you really, really want to, you could search for a downtrend, but I wouldn't risk it at this point. It's currently in a no trend zone, so I wouldn't touch it. Sui, you could look for a downtrend, although how much movement could you get out of it? You could look for a short, but how much movement can you make of that is probably not that much. It would have to be such a micro amount that you're likely of just, you know, going back up to the median and then from there becoming an uptrend again. That's what I feel like would be the most likely scenario. You know, testing this downtrend first and then possibly breaking out. Hopefully, I don't know. Cardano is in a downtrend as well. Similar situation. Do we have any downtrend drawings for Cardano? We have a longer term one and then nothing for short term. The only real resistance we see is resistance 1 from the pivots. And I mean, where we are right now is just a congestion zone. Is this a shorter term uptrend that we could see possibly? What happened here? I didn't take profit. This thing is in the way. Okay. Trying to be precise with my drawings, as precise as possible. This wouldn't work. This wouldn't work. This is practically already being tested, so no, I wouldn't really draw anything here. Yeah, bit of indecision for Cardano. Just leave it where it is. Wouldn't touch it either. Litecoin is, yeah, same thing. I wouldn't touch Litecoin. Only thing you can touch right now is Ethereum to the upside or Sui to the downside. If you want to short, that one, those are your two options. Well, Sui for short, Ethereum for long. Ultimately, all coins move in the same direction. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, they'll move to the downside or the upside. You can check what the top gainers are, although pretty sure it's just like Fartcoin or something stupid. Curve DAO token is up 10%. Immutable X, Pith Network, Cosmos, Story IP, Kronos is up 3%. The rest is, yeah, nothing too major. What about the top losers? DexE, I never heard of this. Flare, Jasmy, Pi. Pi's number 21 now. Wow, it dropped. Pepe's still here. Stellar XLM. What did Stellar do? Stellar got a USDC listing on perpetual futures for BingX, but that's nothing too major, nothing too much to pump it up. Like, you just have another way of buying Stellar XLM, which right now is not that hot. We need more crypto innovation in the United States for those projects to start rising. You know, practically every U.S. project. Do we have a category for U.S. projects? I think I have it here. U.S. innovation, Trump. Is it just innovation? I don't think it's innovation. Maybe it is. No, it's not. I'm not seeing the coins that I'm looking for. Yeah, no, it's not here then. There was like a category you could see that showed like US tokens. USA. Yeah, it's these ones. These are all US-based projects. XRP, Solana, Doge, Cardano, Chainlink, Stellar. Stellar's there you go. Avalanche, Dara, Sui, Litecoin, Uniswap, Aptos, Near, Aave, Ondo. And then the rest you shouldn't really care about the rest. Nice. Alright, and let's get into some news. First bit of news, well, these are all good talking points as to why you should remain bullish. Good reasons. Fed slowing down quantitative. I forget what QT is. I know QE is quantitative easing. QT is quantitative tension. Quantitative. What is QT and QE finance? Okay, yeah, I know. Quantitative tightening, there you go. Or quantitative easing. That's the difference between the two. So they're slowing down their quantitative tightening, which means that they're doing quantitative easing. What does that mean? It's, you know, possibilities of rate cuts. Inflation is dropping, economy, you know, is fine. Things like that. Global money supply is going up, and that's another talking point I do want to bring up, and I'll touch on that in a while. What else we got? U.S. Bank Supply Credit Index is rising. Bitfinex whales are increasing Bitcoin long positions, so whale accumulation. BlackRock starting to buy again. Donald Trump calling for rate cuts, pressuring Jerome Powell as well. We know that. Dollar trend, the dollar index is trending down. Other countries are already starting to do quantitative easing as well. We see China doing it or considering that. We see Canada doing it as well, lowering their interest rates. Some banks in Europe as well. Europe Central Bank. I don't remember if they cut rates, but they did have a meeting recently, an interest rate decision. Stablecoin supply has hit a new all-time high, and so far none of this has been priced in, which means that we are going way higher. The fact that none of it is priced in, yeah, this down pressure is overshadowed by these tariffs, I'm pretty sure. Like, what else could it possibly be? It's just so much good news, right? People are also just, like, too greedy, like I say all the time. They're expecting Trump to announce, like, oh, we're going to buy a lot of Bitcoins because I love Bitcoin. And I'm going to pump your bags. You guys are going to be tired of winning, like he said before. Yeah, we'll see. We do have this confirmed, at least. Senator Loomis, Cynthia Loomis, she's proposing the U.S. to sell all of their gold, well, not all of it, but their gold reserve that they have in Fort Knox, to buy 200,000 Bitcoins annually for 5 years, accumulating 1 million Bitcoins. This is something that was talked about before, you know, during the election, I'm pretty sure. And I remember covering this, and I agree with it, right? You could sell gold to buy Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin is the digital gold. You do need more of that. You want to accumulate 1 million Bitcoin? That's your plan. It won't cost taxpayers any money. Sure, you're selling gold at all-time high levels as well, right? And you're buying digital gold, Bitcoin, which has proven historically to give, you know, better returns than what gold has. It outperforms gold. It outperforms everything, every asset in terms of return over time for its time that it's existed, right? It has the best rate of return. So it would make sense. And, you know, the US accumulating 1 million Bitcoins out of the 21 million that can exist, that'll be great. And also, it'll pump our bags. So yeah, that's that would be interesting, and hopefully, you know, more power to her if she is able to get this passed. Um, that's our glimmer of hope. So we can't give up just yet. I don't think we're in a bear market. We're just taking a breather. We're in a sure bear trap moment, whatever you want to call it. But from here, like, I agree that the bottom is in. Remember that guy that I talked about yesterday? CEO of some company or somebody important. I don't know. I don't remember him. I don't remember, he wasn't that important, but I don't want to like disrespect him too much. He did say that he agrees that 76K might have been the bottom, right? It's all due to the recession, not recession, but tariff fears, right? And Bitcoin will thrive during this period. The only thing that can be suffering is things like stocks and all that kind of stuff, right? Businesses. But I mean, Bitcoin is something separate, so has a chance of continuing to rise. Hopefully that is the case. Yeah, we'll see. This was also mentioned, right? Six consecutive days of inflows for Bitcoin ETFs. Yeah, come on. No time for being bearish here. Oh, I didn't mean to click that. I'm looking for this ETF flows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a full week of inflows, guys. That's pretty good. Yeah, this is for the 5 days a week, because ETFs are not open on Saturdays and Sundays. They're like stocks, which is like, why would you even want to buy into ETFs? My opinion, I wouldn't buy into ETFs. I'd rather buy the proper Bitcoin. If I'm feeling lucky, I'll use leverage like I am doing right now for accumulating, just to you know, increase my exposition to the market, right? Although I am taking a risk because I am accumulating with like 3x leverage, right? I could get liquidated. I could lose all my money, and it doesn't even have to drop to 0, right? But I will just agree, you know, if we do drop like below wherever my liquidation levels are, like 60,000, 50,000 Bitcoin, I'll be ready to throw in the towel and accept my fate. Like, you know what? It's fine. Well played. I lost all my money. That's great. And yeah, the bull market is over by that point. But it's not going to happen, right, guys? Anyway, at least we hope that's not going to happen. No, we know for sure. Like, just there's so many indicators and historical data and all this news that we're seeing, all of this stuff that is happening around us. There's plenty of reasons to remain positive. I don't feel bearish at all. I'm perfectly fine with this. I know this is temporary. I will agree that, okay, we might see one more dump, one more, but how low can we go realistically? From where we are, 8% dump, maybe. But come on, it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the strongest of these. Altcoins might bleed out just a little bit more. Although they are already, like, very, very down. Like, these prices are just, you know, horrible, right? We're seeing Solana at 130, 120. Ethereum below 2,000. That's insane. XRP is, it seems like it's fine. And XRP is fine. But if we see XRP below $2, it's over. Litecoin under 100. Come on. It deserves to be above that. Sui below $3. It's 226. It deserves to be above $3. Cardano, not even a dollar. It's at 70 cents. It deserves to be over $1. It has to be like $3. Remember, guys, in 2021, we managed to hit $3, given the circumstances that we had in 2021. But at that time, Cardano was a lot more popular, I will agree. Now the market is, like, very diluted. There's a lot of other alternatives and options, right? But, hey, Cardano's still an OG. It's still there, and can it reach that $3? I think it can. It will take time, though. So, you know, we got a lot of barriers to get past. Most coins have erased their post-election gains, so it's just a matter of waiting now. Waiting on Trump to deliver on his promises, which so far he has done, but we need more. We need a lot more. We already see how hungry these people are for all of that information. They're not satisfied. They want more, so we'll be getting more. Given all of these rumors that are going on around, I feel like we will be getting more. All right. Time to talk about the global M2 money supply. Get ready. This just talks about, well, the money supply in the whole world, right? How much money governments, institutions, people have available, right? If they're not in debt, they won't have that money they will have money available, right? If their economies are good, etc. So, this is a chart comparing the two, Bitcoin's price and the money supply that exists around the world. And you'll notice that there is a certain correlation. This is offset by 107 days. So, like, let's just say, for instance, you have money and 107 days later you decide to buy Bitcoin. I don't know. It's something like that, but you're seeing the similarities in the price movements, right? At least the general direction of the market. Okay. Oh, so I'm going to read what it says. Blast off date, this guy is predicting, would be around April 30 due to the 107-day offset for global M2 money supply, as has a high mathematical correlation. The rally could last for 2 months based on how long the M2 line goes vertically. It could extend for longer if the M2 money supply continues going up, right? Because this is the current M2 money supply right up here. I'll enlarge the chart in a moment, but I want to finish reading this. Regardless of the accuracy of the blast-off date, the massive influx of global M2 capital gains is coming. Don't get caught up in the weeds regarding the exact date. Look at the big picture. Yeah, so here's the chart, okay? The yellow line versus the orange line. So the yellow line is the M2 money supply, orange line is Bitcoin, okay? We are currently here for Bitcoin. M2 money supply is currently here. It's just offset by 107 days. So the chart has been pushed back for Bitcoin. Bitcoin should be over here, right? But it's pushed back 107 days. Okay? Given this information, we can see, you know, how closely the price of Bitcoin resembles that M2 money supply, just historically speaking, even with a 107-day offset. It's the most accurate percentage movement, right? From here, we could see a little mini rally that fails, which is what I'm expecting to see from now until the end of this month of March. It just coincides perfectly, actually. April, beginning of April, you'll see we will have a dip over here. Why? Well, if Bitcoin's price follows what the M2 money supply did, it will have a dip. And what also is happening on April, the beginning of April, April 2nd, the tariffs. Trump is announcing more tariffs, right? We already know what happens when more tariffs get announced. You don't got to be an expert to know, right? So, and this too, February 28 and also February 2nd, which wasn't too bad for Bitcoin at least. February 2nd, right over here. We will have a dip. It's inevitable, right? It's just something that's going to happen. People are, you know, just leaving the price flat for now. It's not being taken into consideration, or maybe it is, right? That's why we haven't rallied too hard. But I'm just hoping, you know, based off my technical indicators, we could see breakouts from specific levels, continuing going higher, right? Bitcoin is easy. Like, you just got to break 84,000. You're in an uptrend. This downtrend can be broken pretty easily. We'll see a little mini rally, but it won't be that large. It's going to possibly fail around 90,000, 89,000. We will not get past 90,000 is what I'm trying to say. Like, this could be our barrier right over here. Well, maybe a little longer. 28, 29. Yeah, we could see one of these two resistances around this zone. I'm not sure when this one will be broken. That's not relevant. But it should be by end of month. We could see Bitcoin up here. A little mini rally. Maybe that's a little too optimistic. But that's just projection based off of what we're seeing over here, right? And then we're going to drop. We're going to drop again. Can we drop to 76,000? Yeah. Maybe even a little lower. How much lower? I've mentioned I don't see Bitcoin dropping under... Well, the line is gone now, thank you. But this line, 73,843.5. Under that, I don't see Bitcoin dropping. We also have the support there for... this is monthly pivot at this point. So it's going to last longer. But it's also going to reset by end of month. It's unfortunate. But it's going to be around that point. And if it does break this, your next point you're looking at is 70,000. Why 70,000? Because of this October, November 4. Right over here. 4. 69,500. You get the point. Almost 70,000. Why? Because historically speaking, Bitcoin has never gone under. We haven't seen the price of Bitcoin below what the election day price, which is November 4 in this case. Historically speaking, 2016, 2020, 2024, which are where we are right now, but in the other two previous elections, Bitcoin has never gone back down to those prices ever again, right? The last time we saw Bitcoin at a certain price during an election day, we never seen that price ever again. Okay, I hope that makes sense, that little explanation. But yeah. So, to put it simply, oh, look at this coincidence. We could see this happen by like 28 March, 29, 30 March, April 1, April 2. We're going to see a drop. Where? Hopefully here. Hopefully not even there, like hopefully a little before that. But worst case scenario here. Or even worst case, even worse here. Because we are indeed in a downtrend still. So this might happen, right? For April. But we should recover from this. Bitcoin can recover very easily, quickly. We've seen it. Okay? Bitcoin recovered to 95,000 almost. 94,900. In the 3rd of March. And that was after dropping to a low of 78,000, guys. We went from 78,000 to 95,000 within a matter of 1, 2, 3, give it 4 days. It's possible. Bitcoin, as much as you don't want to believe it, is a volatile asset. So we can see that for sure. Right? And then April 30 blast off. Why? Because M2 money supply, mathematically speaking, that's what's going to happen. It skyrocketed from that point. Bitcoin is likely to do the exact same thing, given that offset time. Because people will have all this money currently, right? Sure, there'll be a fear of a dip, whatever. That's going to blow off soon. And then people will start buying again after they realize by April 30, you know what, we're used to these tariffs that were put at the beginning of the month of April. And I have all this money now suddenly. I'm just going to buy Bitcoin. And we could see Bitcoin rise a lot. Maybe 120,000, maybe 130,000. And this is for 2 months, right? We're going to see this from, okay, April's done, May, June, and then July. That's 2 months of a rally. And I think we're in a prime time for a rally, especially this part of the year of the bull cycle. Well, not this part of the year, but the fact that we're 1 year after election, this is the point where Bitcoin is supposed to be rallying. Right now we're seeing a bit of a drop, and we know why. It's because of these tariffs. But it's all going to blow off. We know that it's good. And Trump's a good negotiator. Read the book Art of the Deal like I did. You'll understand soon enough. Although the Fed's projections of the growth of the economy is taking into the account as if the fact, that other countries have put reciprocal tariffs on us, given it the worst case scenario, we're still seeing some positive outlooks for the US economy, which is a good thing. We're still expecting 2 rate cuts this year. Could be 3, right? If you're optimistic enough. So that could be the case. And the fact that this is where we are today, right over here, and we don't know if, that this M2 money supply is still going to continue going up or not, only time will tell, right? Because it's only an offset of 107 days, right? We can't see into the future yet. M2 money supply could, from today, continue growing, and we'll know that Bitcoin should also follow that same kind of growth, right? I love this chart. Props to them. Good job. Yeah, that's what I want to say for that. And Bitcoin is still very early in terms of adoption. It's still very early. 1.3% of global money is in Bitcoin at a $1.7 trillion market cap. So we are indeed still very early. Fiat money is divided into all of this section right over here. So it's considered that, things like the Chinese yuan, there's $44 trillion in there. There's $20 trillion in the US dollar in terms of value, right? Money supply. Euro has $17 trillion. Japanese yen, $8.5 trillion. British pound, 4 trillion, sorry. And other assets combined, 13 trillion. In terms of hard money, which is, reserve, I guess, amount, gold. There's $20 trillion in gold's market cap. And in Bitcoin's market cap, there's 1.7 trillion. So 5%, give it 10% of whatever the market cap of gold is what Bitcoin is. And Bitcoin will pass gold. Given this growth, it's going to do it. What does that mean? You can 10x your growth still, possibly, by the time Bitcoin reaches what gold is valued at. That'd be interesting. Here's a market cap of Bitcoin, by the way. 1.6 trillion, 1.7 trillion rounded. You get the idea. So yeah. All right. Remember, only 1.3% of the whole world's money is in Bitcoin. The rest, not yet. Man, when China unbans Bitcoin, it's gonna be huge. They've got the most amount of money, right? This is the global money, 108 trillion, right? That's what the global money supply would be, plus the hard money. Cool, congrats. Let's see what happens. That has brought me a lot of optimism, honestly. So I'm happy to share this with you guys today. I know I've been rambling for such a long time, but it's just something, I'm going to mention. For a short-term little analysis that we got, oversold RSIs. Is this even short-term? I don't even look at the charts. No, it's kind of longer-term, actually. We are seeing that Bitcoin is at an oversold level, even though we're in an uptrend, which means, the bull market is still a thing. And we're kind of curving upwards, you'll notice. I feel like it's going to be like short-lived, like we're seeing over here. Like a 1-2 wave kind of thing. Because we do have to expect that dip. But I don't think... Oh, this is what? Are these monthly candles? Or weekly candles? I don't know. Seems like weekly. Because there's probably 50 candles in between each year. So, yeah, weekly candles. Weekly RSI. We could see this start curving back upwards again. I can absolutely see that happening. Soon, though. First, we have to wait for April. Dump. April will dump. A whale has woken up That's part of some news as well today. Bitcoin whale that held Bitcoin since late 2016 just moved over $250 million in funds in Bitcoin last night. The guy bought $3 million of Bitcoins in 2017, and it's today worth $250 million. He's held it for 8 years, and now he's moving it. Why is he moving it? Is he going to sell? Really? You're going to sell now? You shouldn't sell now. Absolutely not. Or maybe he's getting ready to sell whenever, you know, this rally happens. Maybe we're expecting a rally. We don't know. We do know whale accumulation, though, is big at these levels. Just you wait. You got to be patient. Ethereum. Do you want to talk a little bit more about this? I did talk about it yesterday, in some sense, right? Just to stay bullish for Ethereum. I think Ethereum will also be making a comeback similar to what Bitcoin is doing, and it will come back in a larger way because it's been hurt the most, right? Potential of growth is still there for Ethereum. Stable and DeFi total value locked are higher than the next 20 blockchains combined. It just shows you the power of Ethereum, right? What do we see here? TVL is what we're looking at, right? Ethereum has a TVL of $46 billion. Second in line is Solana with only $6 billion. All right, 46 billion Ethereum, Solana 6 billion. You combine the next blockchains, right? Bitcoin, Binance, Tron, Coinbase, Bera, Arbitrum, Sui, Avalanche, Aptos, Sonic, Polygon, and then a bunch of other random ones. Well, we know Hyperliquid, Chronos, Say, Cardano. Cardano is very unpopular. Look at that. But anyway, combined the value of all of those, and Ethereum is still larger than that. Can you imagine that, guys? Ethereum is still being used everywhere, practically. I know Solana is also popular, but it's still got a long way to go. It's mainly thanks to stablecoins and DeFi, right? That's why Ethereum is still alive. But yeah. And half of them are also built on Ethereum, right? They're branched off of Ethereum. I know that some of them have already moved from Ethereum to like a different chain, like Solana. Solana is still a good project, don't get me wrong. But Ethereum's still like the progenitor, the main one, right? Tron used to be on Ethereum. They made their own ecosystem, and now they're on Solana. Binance, I don't remember Binance. Berachain is on Solana, I think. Sui is their own blockchain. Some of these are their own ecosystem. Sonic, Phantom, I think similar deal. Polygon for sure. Used to be Ethereum, moved to Solana. That kind of deal, right? I don't see other coins that I could recall that did that move, that change, but yeah, you know what I mean. If you think Ethereum is dead, it might be time to pack it up and get a real job. DeFi is built on Ethereum is bottom line. Yeah, I agree. Could be the case. Let me get rid of this. It could be a terrible projection, but I'm hoping we're getting something like that. How is my bot doing? Oh man, Ethereum still went up. It's 1995. What a trade. Yeah, I think we're dropping from here. I'm going to close my bot for tonight because honestly there's no volatility and I don't want to risk anymore. Don't want to risk overnight. It's not that great. Ethereum reserves on exchanges also hitting an all-time low. Ethereum could experience a supply shock. Yeah. Big players holding ETH, not selling. Why would you sell Ethereum? We did hear a story about a whale who held Ethereum for like, what was it? 3 years, I think. Or 4 years, I don't remember. They could have made like a couple million dollars in profit at Ethereum's peak at 4,000, but they decided to not sell, and they ended up selling right now, making only like 400,000, I think, in profit instead. Like, why? Just hold on to it a while longer. It's gonna rise. Anyways, your money, your decision. I did want to talk about Tesla as well being oversold. If you recall, no, I didn't share this, but Tim Walls, you know who Tim Walls, VP running mate for Kamala Harris last year. Big flop, terrible guy. Anyway, he said something along the lines of, "Oh, every time I feel a little down, I pull out my phone. I have this app on my phone that shows me, stock prices. And to cheer me up, I go to Tesla stock and I have a look at their price and makes my day, right? 224 and dropping. Well, Tesla, since then, it's risen a little bit. Happy to announce that. Where is Tesla? It went from 224 to 248. It reached a low of 217, actually. Okay. But I feel like, Tesla has a chance of absolutely bouncing back. It's re-entering this down channel, right? We do have a couple of resistances that we do have to break out of. Those resistances I will draw right now. Based off of a fib retracement from top to down. So when we do it, and it's 281. 281 is the next price that we could be looking for Tesla. I'd say now is a decent time for entry. You could put a stop loss like behind these levels, not financial advice. Yeah, something like that. Where would you expect your target to be, man? Look at that potential of growth. Now, okay, we know that Tesla only reached these prices because of Donald Trump. They're still together. Tesla will be doubling their output. Have you seen what they're producing? The robo-taxis that are coming out. Like, their vehicles are great, too. Like, people are just hating on it just because it's Elon Musk. Like, it's literally just because of the CEO of the company that the people are delusionally hating. What else we got? Optimus robots. That's also built on Tesla, right? It's just plenty of reasons to stay bullish here. I think it's oversold. And there's people trolling other people on Reddit specifically. This is pretty funny. In terms of Tesla, this guy himself, Garcia Capital, posted on Reddit saying, "Hey, you guys hate Elon Musk? Want to short Tesla? Now's the time. This is how you can make money from Tesla stock going down. Get a brokerage account like Robinhood, Webull, etc. Deposit as much as you can. Go to Tesla, buy put, select June 20, 2025, and put a $100 strike. Buy as many contracts as you can. They're $130 each." He's basically telling people to buy options, put options, which means like you're expecting the price to go down. You're expecting the price to go to $100, which realistically, like, I don't think Tesla's going to drop to $100. Like, that is crazy low. All the way down here. We do have a support over here. That's interesting. But yeah, no, that's probably not going to happen. And we're seeing a lot of positive outlook that could be happening for Tesla as well. And he posted that on Elon Musk hate, I guess the subreddit could be. Yeah, r/Elon Musk hate. And trying to short Tesla is what he's telling these people to do. It's mainly going to be boomers that will be doing this, and they will lose a lot of money because those options will fail. So don't actually short Tesla. I mean, for short-term trading, you could if you want, I guess, but like for investing in a short, that's probably not going to be the wise idea. And there's actually people that are following this. You can see here the proof of people actually putting in put options, right? That'd be pretty funny. Funny to see. Here's practically the same thing that I drew, and this kind of also does correlate, I guess, to that similar movement that we saw with the M2 money supply, right? Like May, June, July, a rally. I could see that happening. Right? U.S. economy. This is a U.S. company, right? It's going to be good, I think. Mike Investing is expecting a target of $600 for Tesla. If that is the case, if you were to enter right now, 600. It's about there. I didn't mean to do that. 7.84 risk reward ratio. You could say 8. 8 risk reward ratio. That's worth the risk, in my opinion. yeah. Up to you, though. Not up to me. Coinbase, some news about Coinbase. They're in advanced talks to buy a crypto exchange called Deribit. 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 I don't know how to say it. Cool. They'll be owned by Coinbase. Adoption. That's great. And also Pakistan is also apparently very bullish on Bitcoin. They're proposing to use excess energy to fuel Bitcoin mining, and they're also shifting their stance to adopt pro-crypto policies. That's another country, another government that is now pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin, which is a good thing. We're seeing this happen worldwide. People are seeing what the United States is doing, and they will want to follow as well. They want a piece of that. So, yeah. Cool, we're dropping again. Yeah, it's gonna be flat for a while, so enjoy the ride. The barrier of 2000 seems to be the stronger one here. I'm gonna draw this exactly at 2000, because that line got deleted. Yep, fair enough. Alright, fellas, that is all for today. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Can't believe I had this much to talk about on a Saturday of all days. But yeah, there you go. M2 money supply might be our savior. And I hit a take profit today. That's great. I hit it live for you guys. So yeah, leave a thumbs up for that. Yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow with, I don't know, if we ever do get any news. There's always stuff to talk about. Things happen every day, so yeah, definitely. Unless I'm too busy, I don't know, doing something else, whatever.